again, everyone. So it's been a little over a week, but with the holidays, it was a bit busy. I had received some feedback from my last video, which was very much appreciated, and it was essentially discussing the fact that some of the points that I went over and that I covered actually were not as basic as maybe I thought they were. I thought most people sort of came to these same conclusions on their own as well, and that may not be the case according to the response that I got. So they had asked if I could maybe go through some of the bullet points and expand on the different topics that I had discussed. And so I'm going to do that. It's going to be a much quicker video, and you can still submit any type of letters that you would like as well. That would be fine, but I'm going to discuss a few of the points that I had in my letter. And so mostly what I'm going to cover today is just regards to boundaries and how that all plays out. And so I do find this one interesting because up until last year, I had not really heard about boundaries. I didn't know what boundaries were, and I didn't know that I didn't have them, was the other part of that. So for me, I was always very much a people pleaser, and I did not want to say no. I couldn't say no, as a matter of fact, to things that I didn't want to do, and I didn't want to let anyone down. Their disappointment was, oh my goodness, it affected me so much. It was all my fault, sort of thing. And what was happening is the fact that I was doing things I didn't want to do. I was not doing things that I did want to do. I was keeping quiet, and I wasn't very happy. I was very insecure with myself, and I found boundaries really helped with that. And essentially, the other thing that I realized, and I think where the confidence comes from, was the fact that I didn't really know who I was because I was so enmeshed with everyone around me because I didn't have any boundaries. So I wasn't very confident in myself, and I got to the point where I really didn't know who I was anymore. And so then I had my best friend, and I'm forever thankful for her this. I had asked her to do some investigative women type research. And I'm open to feedback. It doesn't hurt my feelings if someone says no. I was always good at receiving other people's boundaries, but I was not good at placing my own. But I didn't know that's what that was. And so I had asked her if she would do something for me. And she said, you know, Mary, I don't really feel comfortable with that. And I wasn't bothered by it, but I took a step back and I thought, I'm confused. You're allowed to not do things that you don't feel comfortable doing? You can say no. And I received that like, wow, I wasn't upset, but I just thought, what just happened here? I don't understand. And that was my first real experience with boundaries. And I thought, I can't say no. Can I? Dare I say no? And that was such an amazing experience. That one interaction was life-changing then at that point. And I will say, putting it into place was really, really challenging because I still, when I didn't want to do something, I still felt so bad about saying no. And so it started with, I was not always consistently being honest and placing my boundaries. Then it went to no, and then I would make up an excuse. And sometimes it was real, sometimes it wasn't. But I thought, no is a complete sentence. And it got to the point where it was no. And that's not to say that people are not sometimes irritated or unhappy with you placing your boundaries. I think anybody doesn't, no one likes to be told no, and I understand that. But friends and good, healthy individuals will respect that, and they may be like, okay, well that kind of sucks, but okay. And they move on and they respect that, and they do respect you more when you place those boundaries. Some people are going to fall out of your life when you start to set boundaries because they don't want you to set boundaries. They don't want you to have an opinion. They don't want you to do what you want to do and not what they want to do. And so putting it in action is actually much more difficult. But it was so interesting, and it caused me to reflect. Did I really want to go see that movie, or did I want to see that movie because I knew he wanted to see that movie? And then it was like, you know what it was? It was like Runaway Bride. I don't know. Do I like that kind of egg? I think I like that kind of egg. No, I don't like like that egg. I didn't know who I was at all. And so the amount of emptiness that you would feel inside you, you would think that no one understood you because no one knew who you were because you didn't know who you were. So that was a hard process of setting those boundaries. Yes, actually, I would like to do that. Okay, great. If it's no, no. No. It's about speaking up. Again, that was the other thing I didn't like to do. I don't want to draw attention. I hate to take up space in this world, but could you please? No. Take up all the space in this world. There's a way of going about it, sure. I mean, I'm not going to say, screw you, I'm not going. I mean, I might. But for the most part, it's no thank you. Or when someone's treating you a certain way or they're doing something, people, they can't read your mind. You have to speak up and you have to say, please, could you not call me baby? I don't like those types of pet languages or whatever the case is. They don't know that unless you tell them. And then what happens, you don't tell them because you don't want to hurt their feelings, you don't want to make them mad, so then you carry this resentment every time, oh, baby's okay. Every time they say, sweetie or whatever, you're just like, kind of sick inside. But it's your fault because you didn't tell them. So it all goes back again to you. And then at the same time, you show people how to love you. You figure out who you are and what you want. And it's a safe space to just be you. And I think some of our lack of boundaries maybe come from childhood. So for my daughters, they're older now, they had toys that was just theirs. They didn't have to share that. One did not have to share it with her sister, the other did not have to share it with her sister. Now, of course, they had their shared, and I would always say, like, if you're not playing with it, it doesn't really hurt, let her use it. But I wanted them to have ownership in something and not feel that the moment that her sister said, Mommy, I want to play with that she had to be like, well, crap, I'm not done, but okay, I guess take my stuff. I can't say no. So I think it starts in childhood, and I think that's where I'm seeing with my daughters, because now I will see, and again, we're dealing with little humans here. We're not dealing with second-class citizens. I do have my daughters sometimes. No, I don't really like that. I don't really want to do that. And as a parent, you kind of want to be like, just, will you do it, please? But at the same time, I want them to be able to say no. I want them to set boundaries, and they are going to set boundaries with me sometimes too, and especially as they get older. We forget that. You need your privacy. You need this, you need that, because you're growing into adults, and I want you to be adults that have boundaries. And so I think a lot of that starts in childhood. And I'm not saying that any of this is easy, but what I'm saying is you will become more confident and you'll learn who you are. The people that you surround yourself with are really your people, and they're good people at that point. And I mean, we waste so much time just trying to please everyone else. Meanwhile, we're resentful and we're angry and we don't want to do that, and we're a grump the whole time we go anyway because we felt obligated to go. And it's just, it's not. Life is too short to waste that. Say no if you want to say no. Say yes if you want to say yes. If you don't want someone to text message you after a certain time, tell them. It's communication is what it is. Communicate and know that it's really, really difficult to say no. Who would have thought it? Especially no with nothing after that. But it's so important. And the more you practice it, the better that you get. And I think, at least for me, it's been transformational. The people that are surrounded in my life now, that surround me, they respect my boundaries, and I respect theirs too. And that's the other thing. Sometimes if you don't have clear boundaries or strong boundaries, I would always respect everyone else's because I was a people pleaser. But some people, they blur all the boundaries. Well, you have to tell me. Well, I don't want to talk about it. Well, you have to. You know what I mean? So it's, some people even push other people's boundaries. So that's kind of my short video on boundaries, where I think it came from, why I think it's beneficial. And I would love to know your experiences. Do you think your boundaries are good and strong? When was the time that someone didn't respect your boundaries? If you have any questions about boundaries, I'm by no means an expert, but I do have experience in placing my own after a long time of not having them. So feel free to submit any questions that you have. Again, any letters that you may have from the last video, you can follow up on those. I don't know what the next topic will be, but it's coming. Happy Tuesday.